Sanibonani, Linjani, Magadini. Good afternoon, Dynamites. Thank you so much for joining us today again for yet another exciting session of Young and Dynamic. I just love to extend my gratitude to Pastor Amnashia for leading us in a moment of prayer, and I hope that the Holy Spirit is going to lead us in this Young and Dynamic session today. I would also love to welcome you, Dynamites, our HLF and Delta staff members and executives who are connected with us here from all over the world. Thank you so much. We do not take your connection for granted because you probably had other things to do, but you set yourselves apart so that you could join us today. So we are so grateful. So by now I'm hoping that we all now know our housekeeping issues, but I'm just going to repeat them for some people who may be new today. So firstly, you are required to have your notebook and a pen so that you write down all the things that are going to be talked about in this session. You're also required to keep your gadget on mute unless you're asked to speak by the facilitator. Also, make sure that your video is turned off whenever you leave the room. And then when you come back, you can always turn it on, and make sure to use the chat box to post your comments and your questions. And we have a capable young and dynamic team that will be looking at your questions and will try to make sure that they are addressed by the end of the session. So since we have already had a prayer session, today we're not going to have a prayer segment, but we are going straight into the session. I'm sure you've all seen the banner that was circulating, and our session today is on the future of work, and we're going to be receiving some employability tips from Miss Tadzie. So I'm just going to read out her bio to you guys before handing over the time to her. So Tadzie is short for Tadziripa. She is a fearless leader and visionary who brings extensive experience translating organizational objectives into global marketing strategies and leading high-performing teams. She has held numerous marketing leadership roles, most recently as Chief Marketing Officer at All Hands and Hearts. Before this role, she was the Global Communications and Partnerships Manager at Reach for Change. She holds more than 15 years experience in strategic communications and the execution of high-impact media campaigns on digital and non-digital platforms. She has a proven record in developing successful marketing campaigns and communication strategies in Africa, Europe, and the United States. She is highly skilled in storytelling, pitching, and conducting trainings and workshops on a variety of communication topics. She has trained over 300 social entrepreneurs in communication skills such as pitching, marketing, and branding. Her background in advertising developed her creative skills while she was working in a nonprofit organization, and it also developed her editorial, storytelling, and writing skills for impact communication, fundraising, and PR. Highly proficient in graphic design skills and in Adobe Creative Suite, Tadzie is a creative thinker, recognized for strong project management and branding skills. Tadzie also gives back through her career guidance initiative, Ignite Youth in Zimbabwe, that focuses on developing, mentoring, and equipping youth to become influential leaders in their local communities, schools, and country, helping them realize their fullest potential. Ladies and gentlemen, I am sure that you can see that this bio is packed. And so without further ado, I would like to hand this time over to Ms. Tadzie to take over the session. Over to you, Ms. Tadzie.
Thank you so much for that introduction. I'll switch on my camera just now. There's just a few technical glitches that I was facing before I joined. But I just want to say thank you so much for inviting me to this platform and to be able to speak to all of you. I hope that today we'll be able to walk away from this session having learned a lot, not just from me, but from each other. So today we're going to be talking about the future of work. And, I really love this topic a lot because when we're talking about the future of employability and what that looks like for many young people, I have realized that for most young people, when it comes to career choices or career guidance, their choices have been determined by other factors, but not necessarily factors that involve research, that involve mentorship, and that involve enough of a background for them to completely understand what kind of a choice they're supposed to make. So before we get into what exactly we're talking about when we're saying the future of employability, my first question is, when you're thinking of yourself, what informed your career choice? I just want a few people to share what informed their career choice during the school? Anyone? Anyone? How will I know? Will the people lift up their hands?
Yes, they'll raise up their hands and then
Okay.
you'll be able to pick them up.
Okay. You guys don't know what informs your career choices.
If there's no one to speak, I can start and open the floor for everyone.
Okay.
So, basically, I've always been a person who was good in commercials and not really interested in science subjects. And not to say maybe I wasn't good in them, but I just did not have the interest. So from the time I was in O-level, I already knew that I was not going to be doing sciences. And so when my results came back, I had really good grades. But the pressure to go and do sciences never really caught up with me because I already knew what I wanted to do. So on A level, I took math, accounts, business studies, and economics because I knew that I wanted to study actuarial science. And then, so from there, I had researched and found out that for you to get into like the class, you needed like maybe 20 points or above. So I did that research, and then fortunately for me, my results came back and I had 20 points. So that's how I started doing actuarial science.
Okay. Who else wants to share? Thank you for sharing. How do I pronounce your name?
Sidrine,
Sidrine. Okay. Thank you for
yes,
sharing.
you're welcome.
Who else wants to share? What informed your choice of career? What made you say, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing. This is what I want to study and so forth. What informed that? I think I saw a hand just now.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
My name is James. So am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Okay, so I'm pursuing medical physics. So I've always been good in math. Then I was also good in sciences. So when I applied for varsity, um, I wanted to do radiography, but then the industry got so flooded because everyone was going for it. Then I went and did some research, and after doing some research on my own, that's when I saw that medical physics was a better route to take than going into an industry which is flooded, because later in life I just thought um, competition will be a bit stiff and making it hard to get jobs. That's why I took medical physics.
Thanks for sharing that. Anyone else? Let's just take one more person.
Noah says he wants to share, but he is not being unmuted. So the facilitators may kindly unmute him.
May someone assist me with that? For some reason, I can't see him.
Yes, he's failing
Okay,
to raise
sorry,
his.
I was saying I'm failing to raise my hands. So my name is Noah Hanok, and I am a fifth-year student at the University of Zimbabwe. For me, I had to really consider what I was passionate about after leaving high school. I discovered that I was really interested in infrastructural development. I would always be researching about those jaw-dropping structures from Dubai, those amazing airports, skyscraper buildings, and all of that. And I discovered that for me to be able to end up pursuing, or within that industry, I had to study civil engineering. So that's how I got to choose civil engineering as a program that I'm now in my final year at the University of Zimbabwe. So it was all about what I'm really passionate about.
All right, great. So it seems like the feedback that I'm getting is that for most of you, when you were choosing your careers, you were thinking of what are you good at? what are you passionate about, and so forth. And all of those are really good, ways in which you can choose what you want to pursue. But today my topic is on the future of employability. And part and parcel of you planning your career is understanding the future of the career choice that you've taken. So it's one thing for you to say, okay, this is what I want to do. But it's another thing for you to understand what opportunities exist for you in that career space. Because the world is evolving and is changing. So you have to be actually doing your research and understanding the choices that you've made for you to understand what opportunities are there for you in that specific choice, and where is the world of work going in your specific career choice. So I think many of you already know that AI and technology has taken over certain jobs. There are certain jobs that are actually going to become extinct because of AI and technology, which means that when you're choosing a career, you can't just choose a career because it's something that you love and it's something that you're passionate about. You've also got to consider the future of their career. So I'm going to ask a couple of questions in here. Which careers do you guys think are going to become extinct? Given where the world is going, which careers do you think are going to become extinct? Someone said mechanical engineering. Why? Why do you think mechanical engineering is going to become extinct? A lot of people are putting in accounting, mechanical engineering. Can we get those people to explain why? What do you think is going to happen to certain career paths like accounting? Why do you think accounting will become extinct? Why do you think that mechanical engineering will become extinct? Someone said software engineering. Someone says statistics and data analysis. I would like to hear your reasoning behind your suggestion as to why you think those careers will become extinct. And may I please ask one of the facilitators or coordinators to help me to select people who would have raised their hands, because for some reason I can't see it on my screen. Thank you, Sidrine.
All right. So far, I don't see any hands raised. Those who want to participate, may you kindly raise your hand so that you can be unmuted. Seems like no one is raising their hand. Or am I missing?
James has raised his hand. James Girinja. Do you mind unmuting him?
James, may you kindly unmute so that you can speak?
Okay, so I said accounting. This is because simply these days you can just tell us Paul, which is an AI. You can tell him to just add stuff and it will add, and you tell him to put in this format and it will put in this format. You can tell it to analyze and it can analyze. So I think also for software engineering, because if you just ask it to say, design for me, give me a coding for an app which does this, it will also give you. So Paul is unpaid. So what about one which you need to pay for it to do something? So I think the IT world is just advancing so much that these two industries will be extinct. That's from my point of view.
Thank you, James.
Sorry, Brave Nyakumbo doesn't agree with you. Brave, do you want to speak as to why you feel accounting will never be replaced? Brave, do you want to speak as to why you think accounting will not be replaced?
Good day.
Are you
Tadzie,
there,
you can go ahead. Seems like he probably dropped.
Yeah. All right. So it's good that you guys are thinking about which careers, will most likely be replaced and which ones will still exist. This is a very important part when it comes to career planning. When you're planning your career, you must always think about how far can I go with this career given where the world is going. Of course, you can't always anticipate everything that's going to happen. But in this current age that we're living in, where we've got so much technology, you have no excuse as to not knowing which careers are going to become extinct or not, because that information is readily available. You need to be doing your research so that you know where your career is going, because you're going to end up choosing a career that's going to become extinct in 5 to 10 years, right? So I'm going to give you guys a list of careers that are most likely going to become extinct, because the world, I think some of you as you noted in the comments, the world is actually becoming more technologically advanced, which means that, a lot of these careers that exist are going to be taken over, right? One of them is data analysis. So AI is able to analyze large data sets and generate insights. And it's making data analysis even more efficient and potentially reducing the need for the manual data analysis. Right? We're not saying that human beings cannot play a role in data analysis, because human beings can define that that just means that when it comes to the world of data analysis, you're results. You have to be someone who has the ability to define the objectives and interpret the results and provide context in order for you to stay in that industry. But it's no longer a very safe choice because of the fact that there's now a lot of AI that's taking over data analysis. The second one is bank tellers. So we now have ATMs, we have online banking. The online banking system is taking over the world, right? There's a lot of online things that people do for themselves, such that I think obviously there are certain places in Africa where people are still wanting to go to the bank. But if you go to the first world countries, for example, they hardly go to the bank because they literally do all of their transactions online. They do transfers online. So the need for that in-person banking service is sinking. And it's also sinking in Africa, right? Because technology is taking over, which means that more people want to use online banking platforms, whether they're using whatever tools that they use, but when it comes to online transactions, there are now so many tools that people are using. So being a bank teller is not necessarily going to be a good career choice for the next years, because chances are we're going to actually see more jobs being lost. In fact, there is a statistic by the Bureau of Labor Statistics that says that in 2022, 43,000 bank tellers lost their jobs. So that in itself shows that actually, but the banking system is going digital. Then data entry clerks. So this is almost like the data analysis as well that I shared earlier. But that is also being, it's a repetitive task. Data entry is a repetitive task, and that's being replaced by AI. So, those AI algorithms, they're able to process and input that data with high accuracy. So that eliminates the need for any manual data entry. So that means that if you're looking at data entry, that's another area that's also going to become replaced. So for those that have traveled, maybe even outside of Zimbabwe, if you've gone to the US, you will know that, for example, cashiers, and that's an industry that's going to be replaced as well, because there are self-service kiosks now in certain countries where customers can just go and pay for their items on their own without needing that human interaction, right? And in 20, there in around 335,000, more than 335,000 cashiers lost their jobs during COVID, and many of them didn't get their jobs back. So some of them weren't even hired back because the companies are now actually trying to with the way it's going with COVID and everything. Many companies are digitizing a lot of their platforms. The other one is in your fast food workers, it's the same thing. They now have self-service kiosks in other countries. So these are some of the careers that are being replaced by AI. For example, we can even look at, for example, taxis, right? Let's look at the ride app, the Uber, all of those tools are replacing the taxi. So you find that people will end up using other tools for them to actually make sure that they are getting to where they need to go. There's a lot of jobs that are going to become extinct. Are there any other jobs that you feel I might have missed, that you feel like this is definitely one job that could definitely become extinct? Is there another one that you guys would suggest and add to the list where we can talk about, okay, this is what these are some of the jobs that we could lose out on? Any other jobs that you guys see?
I don't see anything from the comment section, but some questions. And I see people asking, what about psychology?
Yeah. People put flight attendants, motivational speakers, marketing, pilots, anything that can be accounting and law. I think that ultimately what we're trying to learn here is that certain careers are no longer safe careers, right? I'll give you an example of marketing. Personally, I don't think that young people should at this point select marketing. I've been a marketer for 15 years. The reason why I'm doing so well in marketing is because I've been in it for a long time. So chances of me getting a job are very high. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to remain the same. It means that I have to be constantly evolving and boosting my skills so that I remain relevant in the market. So, for example, there's a lot of tools that I have to learn, and I have to become someone who is well-versed in the world of marketing. My skills have to be so good now as a marketer for people to say, okay, we need a marketing person. So I think ultimately every career that you've chosen, you've got to be keeping up to date with the trends in your career choice for you to know where it's going, right? Because you will choose a career and then later on you realize that for some careers, because they are high in demand, even after you finished university, you get employed. But for some careers, it's going to be hard because, for one, there's now AI and there are other tools that can replace that career. And then, the market is flooded. Okay, so I gave you an example of marketing. I'm a marketing expert, but I'm giving you this example because it's important for you to understand. It's flooded. There's a lot of young people who've done marketing. You're competing against someone like me who has 15 years experience. And so, it becomes very difficult in terms of for you to build the career projection for you is very steep, right? Because you have to be very, very good for you to quickly get up the ladder, right? So what I encourage you is, if you want to get into a specific industry, like let's say you want to get into marketing, you've got to be somebody who has got a certain edge that will say, people, we have to hire this person. So your skills have to go beyond just marketing. You've got to be able to do other things. Maybe you've got to be a graphic designer, you're bringing graphic design skills, etc. You've got to add more to your CV, to make you a compelling candidate. Because for you to just say I've done marketing might not be enough, because maybe there are 10,000 other people that are applying for the same job who've done marketing. So you've got to actually now add more to to your skill set for you to become competitive, right? But there are other jobs that are high in demand right now, such that even if you are coming in at an entry level, you've finished university, chances are high that you'll get employed immediately, right? You'll get employed immediately because that is the way the world is going. So I want to see if you guys have been doing your research and been looking at which careers are hot off the press, so I can say. They are hot off the press. If you do that career, you most certainly are going to get a job within the first year of you finishing university. You'll have got an offer. Which jobs do you know where, in terms of where the world is going, that you know for sure this is a career that is hot off the press? There's someone who's raised their hand. Samsung, his name is not written. You can speak. Sidrin, do you want to help me out with
Of course, let me just try and check if there's anything in the comment section. Someone says information technology, coding. Someone says computer engineering, drug discovery, data science, banking information system. I'm not sure if they've been all researched, but that's what's in the comment section. Yeah.
Okay. So here are some of the top 14 jobs. So you guys have to be doing your research constantly, okay? Because you need to know what's happening in the future of work, because a lot of things are changing in terms of which careers are going to be extinct, which ones are going to be needed the most, and etc. So you must always be constantly evolving and catching up with the times. But there are some certain careers of the future that are going to be some of the most in-demand careers. Software developer, for one, and someone who mentioned coding. Coding is becoming one of the most sought-after skills by technology companies and research groups. So you find that if you're into coding, into software development and things like that, it's one of the most highly ranked jobs overall, right? Because many countries are going the route of using technology and digitizing their platforms. So, you know, you've got to be, if you're into software development, coding, you know, that's one of the jobs that you most certainly can actually add to your skills, and it will help you, right? You can start your development towards software development by doing any software development fundamentals. You can learn Python, you can learn Java, you can gain Django certifications. All of those are good for coding. And also video game design and development is also something that links up with coding and software development. And if you're into creating program applications and things like that, or apps, that's all within that line of work. The other one is, you know, blockchain technology. How many of you guys know what blockchain technology is? What is blockchain technology? What is blockchain technology? Are you guys keeping up with what's happening in the world? I should know these terms more than you guys. I'm almost 40 years and I know these things. How does that work? But I should be way ahead of me telling me what blockchain technology is. Tell me. I want someone who knows their technology and who's keeping up with the trends. What's blockchain technology? You guys are supposed to impress me. I'm supposed to see a lot of people knowing these terms already. Pastor Monashe, are you there?
Someone says there's someone in the comment section who says it is a decentralized ledger consisting of nodes linked cryptographically. I think I'm losing the comment. Not sure if that's what it is.
Okay. So, yes, most people are not familiar with blockchain technology. because it's usually associated with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin. But however, like blockchains are not just used for cryptocurrency. They're standalone technologies that can be used across industries. They're actually right now they're being used in the automotive industry, right? They record the history of vehicles to prevent fraud. Okay, so for example, no one can lie about a car's mileage or the maintenance. That information is recorded on the blockchain. Okay. So blockchain technology is that sort of technology that I think as the previous person had answered, it's really technology that has been associated with cryptocurrencies, but it goes beyond that. It's just standalone technology that can be used across industries, right? And there are actually people who become blockchain developers. Okay, they were actually doing this and they're actually earning a lot of money. I highly recommend that you guys do your research into blockchain technology and understand what it's about. Then there's virtual reality jobs. Who knows about virtual reality jobs? What's virtual reality jobs? What are those about? What are virtual reality jobs about? Who wants to give me an example? We spoke about some of them already. Virtual reality jobs in the US, you can earn like $2,500 per week. By the end of the month, you're looking at $10,000. That's how well they pay. Yeah, stimulating environments, right? Those are the virtual reality jobs, right? And right now they're saying that the global market size of virtual reality is forecasted to reach 269 billion this year. In 2021, it was 30 billion, and this year it's going to get to 269 billion, right? So the idea behind this virtual reality is like what we've already discussed, like video game developers, right? Anyone who's creating something that creates a stimulating environment, that's virtual reality jobs, right? And those jobs are going to be paying a lot. I gave you an example that actually just someone who's getting into such a job, just not if early stage career, is earning around 10K. Right. You guys need to do your research about these jobs because this is where it's important for you to make the right choices with your careers. Okay. Then do you know what's called an ethical hacker? Do you guys know what ethical hackers are? Do you know that ethical hacking is a job? Like hacking ethically. There's a job for
I'm sure
hacking
they
ethically.
know, but then
There's
I
a job
guess
for
they're
hacking
typing
ethically.
slowly.
There's a job for hacking ethically. Do you guys know about that? Do you guys know about
Yes,
that?
someone says in the comment section.
They're called white hat hackers. White hat hackers. Okay. So hacking is not just for those who are unethical. There's actually people who get paid to do hacking ethically, right? And so I think with the way the world is going, we're looking at ethical hackers increasing. Ethical hackers are going to continue to increase. It's more in the field of network security, and the only challenge is like this work. I think for all of these jobs, they're very dependent on the internet, right? So the idea is in some of our cases, like in Africa, it's just an issue of internet connectivity. But there is a course by Coventry University that provides ethical hacking, right? Which instances do you think ethical hacking is used?
Someone says people who test the defense strength of technology, maybe like in an organization, say you've created an application and you want to see whether or not it's strong enough. I guess that's when ethical hackers are used.
Exactly. So they are there to understand and fix the security vulnerabilities that exist in a network. So they're constantly looking at where the gaps are in a system, right? They're looking at what are we not seeing? What opportunities for hacking are there? They're testing the computers, they're testing the networks, they're trying to see which areas could be exploited by criminals, right? So that's ethical hacking. So there's also, we spoke a little bit about data analysis as one of those that could go, but there's also the flip side of it where, you know, if you are someone who is actually very qualified, you could stick around when it comes to data if you're able to define objectives and all of that and analyze data and be able to define and give more context to the data, then you most likely won't lose your job in that area. I think, so, I mean, there's also content creation. Content creation is a lot. The only thing that I would say about content creation is that content creation has become easier now, right? So it means that content creation is not really something that you can say, you know, is going to, anyone can become a content, unless, you know, content creation, unless you're doing it for yourself and you want to become an influencer, then it's good for you. But if you want to do content creation for others, I think it's not something that pays as well as it used to. I'm going to skip through many of this, but data protection jobs are also big. And actually, mental health jobs are actually on the increase. So if you're doing psychology, you're really in a good place because mental health has become something that's of extreme importance. With the pandemic, the recessions, all the things that are happening, mental health is a very critical part of what people are now thinking about. Access to technology is actually making people depressed. So you find that if you're doing psychology, that's one area that is also very much still going to be around. Okay, so there's a lot. There's drone expert, you know, even entrepreneurs. You know, the world of work, I think, as you know, is becoming more and more flooded. There are more graduates than there are entrepreneurs, than there are business people. So if you're interested in starting your own business, you're in a good place because, you know, there are lots of people that are looking for jobs right now as opposed to thinking of starting their own initiatives. So that in itself is also a good starting point. Okay. So I think we've shared quite a bit on what are some of the careers that are actually going to be extinct and which ones can we actually now are going to be high in demand. So now that you're thinking of your own career, right? I think the most important thing is not to necessarily think, oh, I have to change my career now because the one that I've chosen might be extinct in a couple of years. I think the first thing that you have to think about when you're planning your career is what are the trends that are happening in your career choice. So you guys need to do your research. You need to find out what's happening in your career. What are the different things that are happening, the different skills that you need to learn. You must be constantly keeping an eye on what's happening in your career so that you are somebody that becomes an expert. So for you to become an expert, you've got to know what's happening in that path. You can't just be someone who is talking about your career just from the studying that you're doing from school. You've got to be an expert in the sense of, even if you go for an interview, you're the person who's talking about, for example, if it's marketing, you're talking about it in such a way that other people, even the people that are interviewing you, are impressed. They're like, wow, we didn't know that, you know, there's now all of these new ways of marketing. You know about your digital marketing platforms, how those platforms work. You know the language, you know about the 3 Ps, you know about all of that and how that applies to digital marketing. You've got to look like you know what you're doing, but also you've got to know what you're doing, right? So it's not just about looking like it. You've also got to know it, because when you get hired, they're just going to expect you to be able to deliver what you said. So I think that when it comes to the future of world, the most important thing that I want us to think about as we're thinking about the choices we've made is, where is this career going? Where is this career headed? What are the things that I need to do to improve myself and to prepare myself for the world of work? How am I going to remain relevant? How am I going to remain needed? You've got to think about all of those things with your career. I'm not saying change your career paths. I'm saying that because of where we are going with technology, you've got to be smart. You've got to be smart. And obviously, I want you all of you to succeed. But it's competitive. We've got I don't know how many people graduate per year, right? But it's more than 10,000. I think in Zimbabwe, we have got 30,000, more than 30,000 people graduate every year. So we're looking at those figures and we're looking at those numbers. And we're thinking 30,000 people every year getting into the market and they want to get hired. They want jobs. And you're one of the people that's competing among thousands of other people that also want to get employed. You're also one of the people that's targeting the high-paying, companies. So you've got to be someone your edge has to go beyond just your degree. Your edge has to show that you're somebody who's smart, who's creative, and who's innovative, someone who does their research. That's how you get hired. Okay, that's how you get hired. Now, we went ahead and we spoke about the importance of you being someone who knows their stuff, but at the same time, there are certain things that you must do and start cultivating right now before you get into the world of work. And these are basic things. These are things that don't need even for you to have a qualification, but you have to nurture these skills in order for you to become that person. And one of those things that you need to prepare yourself for are things like, do you even know how to put together a CV? Do you even know how to put together a cover letter? How does your CV and cover letter stand out from those of those who are also applying for the same opportunity? And so you've got to be someone who, at least some of the basic things are, you shouldn't have typos in your CV. You shouldn't have typos in your cover letter. We've now got AI writing tools, so many. Honestly, you can use Grammarly to check your grammar and make sure that your grammar is fine before you send an application, even if it's an internship role. So those are some of the things that you need to do, where basic things like making sure your CV is in place and it's looking good, making sure that your cover letter is there and it's looking good, and there are no typos, are basic things that you can do by just using the software that I just told you about. You know, that online software, that AI is there for you to help you so that you are aware of what tools you can use in order for you to succeed. So we spoke about those basic things. The other things that you need to think about is, don't send your CV over WhatsApp, please. I find it very rude when people send CVs over WhatsApp. WhatsApp is not a platform for you to use to send CVs. It doesn't look professional. When you're sending a CV out to someone and you're applying for a job, you need to attach your CV and your cover letter to an email, and then you need to write the body copy of your email, and then you need to send. Because that's what professionalism is all about. We're not expecting to receive CVs over WhatsApp. If I see a CV, personally, if I see a CV over WhatsApp, I just blue tick. I don't even open. Even certificates being sent over WhatsApp, like, who said that I've got enough data for me to open your certificates? You know, it's really important for you to be able to know, yes, you want to send your things and you want to get the jobs, but you can't get the jobs when you look unprofessional. If you want to communicate with the hiring person, you can communicate with them over WhatsApp or call. And you can even call them and say, I would like to apply for an opportunity at your company. Are you okay with me communicating with you over WhatsApp? Don't make the assumption that the person is okay with you communicating with them over WhatsApp if you have not asked them if it's okay. Because maybe WhatsApp for them is a personal platform for them and they don't want to use WhatsApp to be talking about, work-related things. And someone, I think Hazel wrote, WhatsApp is a social platform, not a formal. Yes, it's not a formal platform. It's a social platform. And so when I'm looking for messages in my phone, I'm not looking for messages about jobs, someone who's applying for jobs. You get what I'm saying? So I think that those are some of the things, those are small things. Those are some of the things. Those are small things, but we're already competing with so much. Don't let it become more difficult for you because of smaller things that you can control. There are certain things that you can't control. You can't control where the world is going in terms of career, but there are things that you can control, right? You can just literally have your CV. You have your CV nicely done up. There are apps now that actually do CVs. Do you know that there are apps that do CVs? How many people know about apps that do CVs? You put in your information and it lays it out. Do you guys know about that? There are apps that actually can help you to lay out your CV. There are apps that can help you to edit the grammar in your CVs and your cover letters, right? And so it looks neat, it looks decent. And then what you then do is you then attach you call the person that you want to, wherever you want to work. You say, you introduce yourself nicely. Hi, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. Good morning, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Good morning, sir. My name is, you introduce yourself. I would like to apply for a job opportunity to an internship or attachment at your company. How do I go about it? Right? That's how you do it. And then the person will tell you, you send it through this platform. Go on our website and look at where it says careers. There's an email address there that where you can send. And then now you send it nicely and properly. Then you say, who do I follow up with after I have submitted my CV? Because maybe that person you're speaking to is not the person you follow up with. But you need to find, you have to follow up with our HR officer. How do I get a hold of the HR officer? Okay, let me send you the contact. Right? So that's how you do it. You don't force your way into someone's WhatsApp. That's not how you do it. Okay, because the person will blue tick you and they won't even check the messages. And it just looks very professional. Okay, so those are some of the basic things about work, about the future of work. The other thing that you guys must be able to do when it comes to the future of work, we're now talking about remote working. This very session that we're having this session online. We're not sitting in a room. We're not sitting in a workshop room, all of us, and I'm presenting. I'm presenting this session right in front of all of you, but wherever you guys are at, in the comfort of your homes, at your schools, wherever. So this in itself shows that the world of work is going towards remote working, which means that you can actually do your work whilst you're at home. And meetings are now done over Zoom. They're done over, Skype, over all these other platforms, Google Meet, and so forth. So really, what that means is you need to learn how to host a meeting online. Sidrin cannot be the only person who knows how to host a meeting. She cannot be the only one who knows how to do breakout. How many of you know how to do breakout sessions with Zoom? Do you know that you can do breakout sessions with Zoom? All of that is information you should know. You must understand the different platforms. So when I was talking, for example, about you might be entering a market that's flooded, but you've got skills that others don't have, who are within the same age group as you. If I get someone who's like 22 and they want an attachment and stuff like that, and all they're doing is bringing a CV. Yes, I might get 20 applications from young people who want a marketing attachment. But for me to choose the one, that person has to be better than the others in certain ways. For example, if they say during the interview that they know how to host a Zoom call, they know how to do breakout sessions, that's an additional skill. I need that skill because I need someone who's organized and who knows how to host a meeting, who knows how to send an invite and so forth. That already sets you apart though you're entering a market that's flooded, but you've got additional skills that are needed. You know how to organize meetings, you know how to do breakout sessions, you know how to, all of those things that are organizational skills that strengthen your application. So don't take it for granted, this experience of doing online sessions, because it's a way for you to learn how to actually manage this is where the world of work is going, guys. So you have to catch up. The fact that, we don't like things online as Africans, we have to adjust. We have to get used to things being online, because that's where the world is going. I know as Africans, we like to meet all the time in person, but that's not where the world is going. The world is now very, very digital. So we've got to catch up. We've got to be able to actually say we're okay with having a Zoom call. We're okay with having a Skype call or any call, because all of that is good. So you've got to learn how to do all of those things. There are certain project management softwares, right? Asana is good for project management. Tell the person who's interviewing you, I know how to use project management softwares to keep on top of my tasks and to learn how and to make sure that I'm prioritizing the right responsibilities. That gives you a different edge from everyone else. You've done Asana, you know how to do Zoom, so all of that strengthens your application. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So what I want is for you guys to think about, what are besides the skills that are needed for your specific line of work, there's also essential skills, which are basic things. Things like, how organized are you? How well are you at communicating? How solution-oriented are you? How creative and innovative are you? Right? To what extent do you bring good ideas to the table? Because you go to the job and now we're talking about, okay, we have a challenge with a certain system or something that's happening at work, and you're quiet. So that in itself means that you're not bringing any value to the team. You've got to bring out that edge that you're someone who's very sharp and fast at learning. Victoria said soft skills. Yes, so those are called soft skills. I like calling them essential because I feel like soft makes them look like they're not really like that important, but they're actually important because, without those skills, it's very hard. Like, you might not be that skilled, but if you've got those essential skills, you make a better person to keep. Some people are very smart, very intelligent, and very good at what they do, but they don't have those. They don't know how to communicate with others. They don't know how to work with others. They're not even a team player. They don't even know how to receive or give feedback. They come to work late. So the fact that you're good at what you do doesn't mean that you're going to keep a job. These are essential skills which Victoria is mentioning, that you've got to be able to actually do some of those basic things for you to actually also be somebody that's kept in the sector, right? Even etiquette, she added etiquette. So we're talking about the fact that, are you coming to work clean? Are you looking neat? Right? You didn't sleep at a braai out or something like that, and now you're coming to work because you have a hangover. Huh? You've got a hangover and the whole office can smell the alcohol on you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So these are some of the things that make people end up saying, okay, we're not going to hire this person because they're coming to work late. When they come to work, they're not clean. When they come to work, they don't know how to work with others. They're not a team player. They are arguing with others. The person doesn't know how to set calendar invitations, basic things, right? So what I want to encourage all of you is that I know that you all want to do exceedingly well and you want to be hired and to be paid well. It's good that you want all of that. But part of career planning is knowing which essential skills you need to work on and develop on, knowing where your career is going and preparing for that so that you've got an edge when it comes to everyone else. You must also know which companies are hiring. Which companies do you want to work for? Do you know which companies you want to work for and what they look for when it comes to their hiring criteria? you've got to think about all of that. Like after school, I want to work for such a company. You can't just be doing mechanical engineering and then you figure it out later. You've got to know right now, like, okay, these are the companies that are hiring. And my plan is to spend maybe a year with this company locally. Then I'm planning to travel to Germany, or I'm planning to travel to Sweden, or I'm planning to travel to Europe, wherever after this, because I know that I would have gained enough skills for me to enter into a different company. Maybe the job doesn't even need for you to travel. Maybe it just requires for you to work from home. But now you are qualified because you have gained enough skills for you to get an international job, which you can work on whilst you're based at home and you don't have to travel, right? So don't just think a narrow way of thinking where you just think, no, let me just think of Zimbabwe, but think about which companies internationally are also hiring. So when you're looking at the world of work, when you're thinking about which platforms, there's Relief Web, there's remote jobs, just search online remote jobs, and you will see the companies that are hiring remotely. Doesn't matter where you're based. I think she spoke about my CV and she gave you guys, I actually have been working remotely now for the past, I think, 10 years or so. I don't remember the last time I was in an office, because I get jobs online. I am able to do remote working. So right now, the company that I'm working for is based in the US. It's called NetHope. I'm their director of marketing. And literally, I just have to make sure that my schedule is well maintained, because it's an American company. I'm working Eastern time zone, which means that my work starts around 2 p.m., 3 p.m., because that's the time that they would have started work. And then I finish work around 11 p.m. So imagine how well organized I have to be and how well I have to manage my schedule so that I don't fall asleep during the times when I'm supposed to be having meetings, right? So what I'm trying to teach you here is also understand that remote working means you've got to be very responsible. For me to be the director of marketing for a US company means that I have Americans that report to me. Now, I want you to understand something significant about that, because us as Africans, we've got this thing where we say Africans are always late, right? When you become someone who has now got a responsibility over Americans and people who always are well known for keeping time, you can't be someone who's late. I'm managing a department of Americans and they're always going to be on time. If not, they're going to be earlier. As the person who is managing the department, I have to be way ahead of all of them. Otherwise, I'll lose my job. Imagine having a manager who's always late and who's always got an excuse. Okay, I had a problem with power cut. I had a problem with this and that. So I'm never available for meetings. So I can't make those excuses because I have to keep my job, which means that I have to always constantly thinking ahead. What challenges can I face when it comes to electricity? How am I going to solve this problem? Maybe I need to work from a cafe because I know that maybe there might be a power cut. I need to put in a solar system. So you've got to be someone who is highly organized for you to be able to compete on a global level. You can't just be someone who's good at their job. You've got to be someone who's highly organized. And also, if you're the director of marketing, like I am for a US-based company, that means that your marketing knowledge cannot just be Zimbabwean-based. You've got to now know what is marketing like in the US. What are the trends that are happening in the US? What are the global trends that are happening when it comes to marketing? Because you've got to always be ahead of the game. Do you guys understand? You've got to always be ahead of the game. And in order for you to remain ahead of the game, you've got to be constantly researching, constantly learning, constantly. People must always see you as the expert. People must see that you're the one who knows what they're doing. Okay. And unfortunately, Americans can see if you don't know what you're doing. They can tell. This one, she doesn't know what she's doing. Okay? So you've got to be someone who is, well, if I want you guys to be able to compete on a global level. To compete on a global level, you've got to be someone who is organized and someone who does their research. You've got to be someone who is very much willing to learn and continue learning. Learning is a journey, and you've got to be someone who's constantly open to that experience of constantly learning new things, and you're always innovating. Okay, so I want to leave some time for us to ask some questions, and I would like to hear from you. I think there's one question there. You can type your questions and I'll try to respond to all of them before the time finishes up. I think it's actually almost time from what I'm seeing here. I think we've only got a short amount of time left. But I will make an effort now to make sure that I respond. There's a question on how do you go about job vacancies that require a certain number of years of experience in cases where you don't have? So you need to, the first thing that you need to do when you're planning out your career is that you can never just qualify for a job that requires a couple of years when you don't have the years of experience. So the first thing is that you've got to work at a company, maybe as an intern or an attaché, right? And after you've worked as an intern or an attaché, then you start gaining experience, because all of that experience that you're gaining as on an attachment or as an intern is experience you can put on your CV. Because you can't go and apply for a job, for example, that wants someone that has 15 years experience. You're not going to get it, right? Unless there's something that's extremely unique about you that makes you the person that has to be hired for that job. But for most people, there's no reason why you should go and apply for jobs that require certain years of experience when you don't have those years. You should actually be someone who is looking at opportunities. So there are ways in which you can add years of experience. Volunteering is years of experience. Do you know if you go and volunteer at an organization, you're actually gaining years of experience? Those are actual years of experience that you're gaining that you should take note of on your CV. When you go and you do an internship, it's years of experience. Okay? If you go for an attachment, it's years of experience. If you become a mentee under someone who is experienced, like let's say you join maybe my mentorship program and you become my mentee, it's years of experience. You put it on your CV and you say that I was Madzima's mentee for 2 years. I was learning from her. That's years of experience. So years of experience, that definition of years of experience is subjective. It's really based on how well you're able to spin the experience that you have, the experiences you have had, to be something that's noteworthy for a CV and for you to be able to sell yourself. Are there any other questions?
I don't see any other question yet. That's the only one I see in the comment section.
Okay.
Maybe we can accommodate 1 or 2 people who would like to speak.
Yes.
So if you want to speak, you can raise your hand and you'll be unmuted. Do you see any hands from your end? I don't see hands either, so yeah. So
Okay.
maybe we can proceed.
What about in case?
Hello.
Yes.
Yes. Please go ahead. We can hear you.
Okay. On my case, I would just like to thank you for the points that you raised. They are quite strong points, which we might have been missing in our pursuit of our careers. So I would just like to thank you for those points. They are quite valuable, and we are really going to implement them, and they are going to really change our lives. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for that. Anyone else?
Nothing from my end.
Victoria has raised her hand.
Victoria, please go ahead.
All right, thank you for the opportunity. I really like how you informed us on how little details, things that you tend to neglect, can actually set you apart from a set of interviewees. So it's really important, and thank you for the empowerment.
You're welcome. Thank you for that.
If there are no further questions, would love to thank you, Ms. Tadzie Madzima, for hosting us in this session and for giving us such valuable nuggets. And I'm sure that everyone who has joined this meeting can testify that this has been so beneficial. And I would encourage anyone to rewatch this meeting on YouTube so that, because it will always be relevant. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you for being present for us, and we hope that you achieve whatever that you desire in life. So yeah, guys, I'm sure that we have all benefited from this session. And just to close off, I'd love to tell you guys that so where I was attached when I was an intern, there's one guy who was working in audit, and the reason why he got the job as an intern is because he handed in his CV on online or via email, and he also handed it in physically. So when it came down to the nitty-gritties, they ended up picking him because they thought he was more serious than the rest of the candidates. So yeah, right now I would love to thank again Ms. Tadzie for joining us for this session. And so please kindly note that we'll be meeting in this meeting, same time, same place. Don't forget to like our Facebook page. Don't forget to like Enjoying Global Intercessors. Until next time, fellows, goodbye.